Hey, it's Coach Justin from Ultimate Baseball Training, and in today's video, we're going to be going over 5 keys to help you throw harder. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. All right, the very first key is get bigger and stronger. Now, I know as an athlete, this is something that you've heard throughout your entire playing career, right? If you want to play better in the offseason, you should get bigger and stronger. You've heard that all the time from parents and coaches, even teammates, right? But I want to go in a little bit further detail and talk to you about why that's so important if you're looking to add throwing velocity. So there's an old saying out there, mass equals gas. And there's a lot of truth behind that, but I think something that you need to understand is we are talking about muscle here. We're talking about lean body mass, all right? The more lean body mass that you're able to add, the more quality muscle you're able to add over a period of time, that has a correlation to the amount of velocity that you're able to put on the baseball, okay? But it's very important to understand that mass equals gas, yes, but we're talking about lean body mass here. We're not talking about you want to throw harder, so in the off season you go out and you eat nothing but donuts and then you gain 30 pounds of body fat and expect to throw harder. No, it doesn't work like that, but there is a correlation between that muscle mass, safely adding muscle over a period of time, and throwing harder. So mass equals gas. Why is that true? Well, I think we can all agree that the more force, right, the more force that you're able to generate with your body throughout your entire kinetic chain, from your legs all the way to your fingertips, the more force that you're able to generate, and then you have to obviously transfer that force actually into the baseball when you throw, but the more force that you're able to generate and then transfer into the ball, the harder you'll be able to throw, right? The more velocity you'll have. We can all agree on that. And I think we can also all agree that the bigger a muscle is, the stronger the muscle is, right? You wouldn't see some scrawny dude with little tiny biceps compared to a big dude with huge biceps. You would never see the scrawny dude be able to bicep curl more weight, would you? It just doesn't make sense. There's a direct correlation between the strength of the muscle and the size of the muscle. So all of that being said, mass equals gas. If we want to throw harder, we have to generate more of that power. And the only way to generate more of that power is to get bigger and stronger. Make our muscles bigger. How do we do that? We do that by progressive overload, right? And making our muscles stronger, tearing them down so that they can grow back stronger, right? So that's the first key, get bigger and stronger. Get in the weight room and eat real wholesome food. Try to avoid sugar. Sugar is the devil. Try to avoid sugar and try to avoid any sort of processed foods, and you'll be well on your way. All right, the next major key is master your mechanics. Now, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that in today's video because, you know, we could make videos and videos and videos all about the mechanical side, but what I will say is your mechanics are incredibly important to developing that velocity, okay? So now that we have the power, we've gotten bigger and stronger, our bodies are bigger, our muscles are stronger, we're able to generate more force, right? Now we have to dial in our mechanics, because you can be the strongest person in the world, but if your mechanics are out of whack, you're going to be leaving velocity on the table. If you do something that kind of breaks that kinetic chain that we talked about, you know, your entire body works together, works in sequence. If you do something funky, whether it be in your initial, you know, movement, if you're a pitcher to the plate with your leg drive, or whether it be something funky that you do with your arm action, if you have a breakdown at all in your mechanics, then you are literally losing velocity. You're literally leaving velocity on the table. So you need to not only get bigger and stronger, but you need to dial in your mechanics. One of the best ways to do that is obviously learn about mechanics, study about mechanics, and a thing that I'd really recommend that you do is you can even do it with your phone. Go out to the field, whether you're a pitcher, whether you're an outfielder, a position player, an infielder, whatever, and if you're really serious about honing in your mechanics, then get yourself on video, okay? Get yourself on video, compare that to some professional players. That'll give you a clear picture of what looks good and what areas of your throwing motion really need to be improved on. All right, another key, this one's a biggie. I want you to add more explosive movements to your training. Obviously, the best way to get better at anything is by actually doing it. So the best way to improve your velocity, no doubt, is to actually be throwing with the baseball, right? Actually be throwing bullpens, actually be out on the field working on your mechanics, right? Just like the best way to become a better hitter is not necessarily off of the tee, it's facing real pitching, getting real at bats. So that's the best thing that you can do. However, can you throw a bullpen every single day? Can you play long toss every single day? No, your body also needs to to rest and recover. And so I think it's very important in your training that's outside of, bullpens and playing long toss and things like that. We want to mimic what we're doing on the baseball field as closely as we possibly can in as many training sessions as we possibly can. And explosive movements is a great way to do that. In particular, plyometrics, okay? So plyometrics, some great examples are things like box jumps, things like skaters where you jump back and forth, things like broad jumps, vertical leap. These are all great examples of plyometric explosive movements. And the reason why I love the explosive movements is because they really do closely mimic what you're actually going to be doing in a real game on the baseball field. Whether you're hitting, a baseball swing is very explosive. It happens like that. You got to explode. And then once you crush the ball, then you got to explode out of the batter's box. When you're on the mound, you get to your leg lift and then you explode towards home plate. When you're playing shortstop, ground ball, tough play, you field the ball, then you got to really get your feet going and you got to explode to first base towards your target. So everything is explosive. We're learning how to get the most out of our body with these plyometric explosive movements. It's going to transfer to more velocity when it actually matters. The next key is learn how your body recovers best. Now, every player out there is different, right? And so I don't recommend the exact same thing, the same cookie cutter approach to every single player out there. So whether you're a pitcher, whether you're a position player, whatever, you need to just develop some sort of a routine after you play or after you pitch, something that you can stick to, but a good positive habit that gets your body, recovered, keeps you healthy, and keeps you making continuous velocity improvement. So there's lots of things you can do. I think the biggest thing is make sure you have something you go to and you stick to it every single time, no matter what. It could be immediately after you pitch, you go for a jog. A lot of pitchers like to do pulls, right? It could be you run 5 or 10 sprints. It could be that you do band work. It could be ice. It could be heat. It could be a massage. It could be going for a walk. It could be going for a swim. There's so many different things you can incorporate. Be sure that you're hydrating well. I recommend some sort of a cool down, but you can kind of mix and match, try a few different things out until you find a routine that works really well for you. And again, it's all about what works for you. So play around with it, but once you find something that works really well, let's say it's, sprints and then doing a little bit of ice or a little bit of heat and then maybe a massage later on. If that's the routine that works for you, then stick to it every single time. We really want to control the controllables, and really baseball's a game about routine. All right, the fifth and final key, amplify with athleticism. And what I mean by that is we can spend so much time on the mechanics side of things in practice. Whether you're a pitcher, whether you're a position player, we can spend a lot of time on the mechanics. And sometimes what I find is that when players really are concerned about their mechanics in practice, that sometimes transfers over to a real game. And so they almost look like robots out there. You've seen a pitcher do that before where they look like they're so focused on mechanics. Or you see an infielder who's so focused on his fielding mechanics and his throwing mechanics that they look like a robot, look like they're so tight and they can't really move. And so I think it's really important, yes, focus on your mechanics and mastering those in practice, but when you get into a real game, you have to remember that this all has to be athletic, right? Yes, there's different components to the baseball swing and the throwing motion, but at the end of the day, it has to be athletic and it has to be one fluid motion, right? And so if you just let your athleticism take over, you're going to be able to amplify that velocity. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and before you go, I want you to grab your free copy of my Elite Velocity Protocol. Now, inside the Elite Velocity Protocol, you are going to learn 4 secrets that all high velocity throwers know that you may not know yet, all right? And so if you're serious about improving your velocity and unlocking the hidden velocity that's inside of you right now, then be sure to grab your copy of the Elite Velocity Protocol. It's 100% free. All you have to do is just click on the link in the first comments. I'll leave the link down there. You just click on that link in that first pinned comment. That's going to take you to a page. All I need is your email address. That way I know where to send your free copy, okay? So go ahead and do that right now. Click that link. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you left me a like. If you have any suggestions or ideas for future videos, leave them in the comments below. I love talking to you guys down there. And as always, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to our channel because we're coming out with new baseball videos every single week and I don't want you to miss any of them. Until next time, I'm out.